One of my favorite topics in personal development is emotional intelligence. And the most important pillar in emotional intelligence is self-awareness. So I decided to do a video specifically on how to grow your self-awareness, since this is the most important thing to learn if you want to master emotional intelligence. So let's get started. Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Arndt, and I'm a peak performance coach and stress management trainer. And I'm always really excited to talk with you about emotional intelligence. If you are curious to learn about all 4 pillars of emotional intelligence, to get kind of an overview of what emotional intelligence is all about, make sure to check out the video on my YouTube channel that's called Master Emotional Intelligence. I will link it in this video here as well. Today, specifically, I want to talk with you about how to increase self-awareness, how to grow your self-awareness, because self-awareness is the most important component of emotional intelligence. If you don't have self-awareness, it's going to be really hard to master all the other pillars of emotional intelligence, which are, by the way, just to mention them again, self-regulation, social awareness, and relationship management. Today, specifically, we talk about self-awareness because it's just so interesting to understand yourself and to understand the tools that you have available in order to grow self-awareness. And one of the things that I want to talk with you in today's video about as well is why it is so important to manage stress when we talk about self-awareness. Let's talk about this first, actually. So when we are talking about self-awareness, we talk about actually creating time to self-reflect, right? To think about the things that are going well, that are not going so well, to think about the emotions that are coming up, maybe some behaviors that are linked to your emotions. But you know what? You're not going to really have time to think about all of these different things if you don't manage your stress levels, and obviously if you don't manage time, which is the reason why I built the peak performance method, the model that you might have heard me talk about in my videos before, because the peak performance method is literally the method that helps you to sustain your performance. And there's different pieces that are all interconnected, because I truly believe that in order to be successful in your life and in order to be a peak performer, you need to master all of these different pieces. Emotional intelligence is one of them. Time management is another one. And self-care and values is another one again as well, because all of these different pieces are linked together. Let me explain why. If you are not aware of yourself, then you probably work yourself to the ground. You always say yes to other people's requests, and you don't have enough time for yourself, which creates a lot of stress in your life, right? The stress hormones in your body are accumulating because you don't take enough time for self-care. And when that is happening, when you have a lot of stress in your life, then you might be not really good at controlling your emotions and feelings, because you haven't taken enough time for yourself to balance them, to take a step back, to refill your energy levels. And you might lash out. You might say things in situations that you regret later. You might do things that in hindsight were not really good. And so it is really important to create that self-awareness. It is so important. And actually, awareness and habit building are also part of the peak performance method, because without self-awareness, you will never start to make any changes. And Joe Dispenza even says that by just creating awareness alone, you are already starting to change the brain circuits in your brain, which is so interesting. Okay, so I hope that I made it pretty clear of why it is important to manage your stress level. If you are high in self-awareness, you understand your emotions and you can act accurately in the moment. And if you are low in self-awareness, you will probably have stress affect your daily duties and the way of how you respond in certain situations, okay? So 83% of high performers are high in self-awareness, okay? So I hope that now you are really curious about how to grow your self-awareness, because you understand that it is really important. And let's talk about a couple of different tools that you have available. There are really plenty of different tools that you can use in order to grow your self-awareness. My most favorite one is journaling, because it is a really wonderful tool to self-reflect. Might not be for everyone, but if you are interested to learn more about how you can get started with journaling, then I highly encourage you to watch the video on the 5 different journaling prompts that you can ask yourself on a daily basis in order to start being more productive. Because here's the thing as well, right? That is the reason why you should be so interested in mastering your emotional intelligence, because there is a lot of proof that emotional intelligence and success and performance is linked with each other. And not just success, but obviously with that as well, happiness. Because the more you understand yourself, probably the happier you will be in your life as well, because you know how to choose things that make you happy in your life. Okay, so journaling, self-awareness tool number 1. And again, there's a YouTube video on my channel that you can watch in order to help you get into a journaling practice. It is also really interesting to practice self-awareness and to grow your self-awareness by feedback. And you can get feedback from family members, from friends, from partners, but also from coaches or from therapists or people that you work with. Feedback is a really interesting tool to build self-awareness, right? Even though sometimes it might feel really uncomfortable to get feedback, because it's always not so nice to hear from other people what we might not be doing really well. But you know what? There's probably always a tiny little bit of truth to feedback. So instead of being defensive and instead of letting your emotions decide how you're going to handle a situation where you receive feedback, maybe take a step away and look at it and really understand what you could improve on. Okay, so feedback is a really powerful tool in order to build self-awareness. And finally, the tool that I want to share with you today in order to grow your self-awareness is self-care and routines. Yes, you might be very surprised about me saying this, but again, it has something to do with stress management and with your own stress levels. If you want to understand yourself, if you want to self-reflect and create more self-awareness, you need to create space. And in order to create space, you need to practice self-care in order to have actually time to reflect. So a lot of people love different kinds of mindfulness tools, like for example, yoga, meditation, walking outside in nature, any type of exercise. I already mentioned journaling. You could also maybe color in a coloring book, whatever it is that creates space for you and that helps you to reflect a little bit on the things that are happening in your life. That will really help you to better understand yourself. And oftentimes it is really interesting, obviously, to interact with other people, to reflect for yourself, but then also to talk with somebody else about your findings, right? You could either journal about it, you can talk about it. I personally think it's also really interesting, obviously, to read books about personal development or to listen to podcasts, to understand other people's experiences in order to connect the dots and understand, hey, maybe this is something that's super interesting for me in my own life as well, and I should take a closer look at that. So those are the self-awareness tools that I wanted to share with you today. If you feel like you do need to practice a little bit more self-care, there's a lot of different videos on my YouTube channel as well that help you to create a self-care practice and that helps you to create routines. So make sure that you check out these videos as well. And I really hope that you found this video helpful, that you now understand the connection between stress management, emotional intelligence, and self-awareness. And obviously with that as well, performance and happiness. And I hope that in the next key situation, instead of reacting, you're taking a step back and you understand what is actually happening. Why is that emotion coming up? How can you self-regulate yourself? That is the second pillar, by the way, of emotional intelligence, okay? But first of all, you need that self-awareness in order to get there, in order to be able to self-manage, okay? So make sure that you're taking time for yourself. Make sure that you're regularly managing your stress levels. and understand yourself. I hope you found this video helpful today. If you did, give me a thumbs up. I always love to hear from you. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.